Hello everyone and welcome to YouTube Tuesday with me, Jessica Brighten of JessBCreativeCardiology. Let me hit that button on the sound just a moment. Sorry about that. All right, welcome again to YouTube Tuesday with me, Jessica Brighten of JessBCreativeCardiology. Today I am showing you an amazing new kit that is part of Stampin's kit collection. These are fantastic, especially if you're short on time. They make great gifts. They are quick, they're easy, awesome to have on hand. These are not a subscription, all right? These kits collection are just in the online store. And this brand new kit was just released last Tuesday, so it's only been available for a week. So I just got it in. This is called the Brighten Your Day kit. It makes 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs. And I know you cannot see it here with the lighting, but each one of these has some beautiful laser cut elements to it. We've got a fern, we've got some beautiful birds, and then we've got a floral design there as well. So I cannot wait to share these cards with you and take it a step further. So we're gonna not just make the 3 designs, but I really think that we can do some amazing techniques with these laser cut elements, and I'm excited to share that with you. So Ziggy is down there. It is really, really hot today. It's in the 90s here in central New York, and I am not letting her outside at the moment. She's currently lost her outdoor privileges because the past 2 days she has gotten out. We let her out. Usually she stays right around the porch with us. Last 2 days, she decided to have some adventures. She went out in the morning and we did not see her again all day. We found somehow she had gotten underneath the crawl space in the house. Thankfully, we have a little window in the basement into the crawl space. And there she was at 10 o'clock at night. After we had called and searched for her all day, we had to drag her out of that window and bring her in. So I really don't want her under the crawl space again today. And she's not happy about it. So don't mind her. All right, we're gonna make some cards. So let's go ahead, flip the camera here. Hi, Luann, hello. If you're joining me live or watching replay, make sure you leave me a comment here. Let me, hit this light and turn my overhead light on. And I just spilled something all over the place. Oh my goodness, it is one of those days, you know? You ever have those where like nothing, well, it's not just a day, it's been quite the week, but all right, we got that lighting, and I just prepped a whole bunch of cards, and I just spilled my drink all over my cards when I went to hit the light switch. So, fun times here to have a nice sticky floor and have to redo that whole set of cards. All right, not quite the start to the video I had imagined. So let's hope the rest of this goes better. All right, so we are opening our kits collection here. All right, again, let's get some better lighting going on. Okay, so like I said, this makes 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs. This kit is $17. It is an all-inclusive. The reason for this being is that there is no stamp set. This is a non-stamping kit. All right, all of the die cut elements are already pre-printed. All right, I can't take the cat meowing through my whole video, so. Throw her in the other room for right now. All right, let's try to get started here. Hi, Polly, hello. All right, check out these gorgeous, the colors are very subtle, but they're really, really pretty. So for the purple florals, we've got a mix of fresh freesia, Highland heather, Looks like we got a little bit of bubble bath in there too. And the envelopes are textured, which is really neat. So those are the water, the florals. Then we have the leaves, and these go with the birds on a branch and our Lost Lagoon here. And then the third design, you can see a little bit of the fern on here and some basic beige, okay? And then the card bases themselves are fairly plain. These are, again, they're textured, almost like watercolor cardstock. So again, we've got our shades of purple, textured on the outside, white on the inside. And then for the blues, again, it's a mix of Balmy blue and Lost Lagoon. And then for the browns, again, basic beige is our color scheme. And I know that doesn't quite show up on camera quite as well. But check out these beautiful little sentiments. They're almost like little die cut ticket stubs. So the sentiments that come with this kit are just a little note, hoping this brightens your day and you make the world a better place. Of course, they're also in French, German, and Dutch there. If you have any multilingual friends you would like to make cards for. Okay, and of course, with this being a kit, they are blank on the back side, so you are welcome, of course, to stamp your own sentiments if you would like. Now this is the star of the show. All right, I told you this had some amazing die cut, or not just die cut, laser cut elements. We've got this gorgeous flower bouquet. Okay, so let's carefully pop this one out here. All right, it is quite delicate as laser cut items are, but they're so pretty. All right, so this is like a white cardstock that it's die cut from. And all right, and this shows that it is the same on both sides, okay? So this is the intended side. However, you could also use the back side. I think we will. So we've got the floral and then this fern die cut. Again, these are just the coolest. If you were to have to die cut these yourself, it would take you quite a while to die cut or to pop out all of the little doodads from in between the pieces. So I appreciate that Stampin' Up! Has already done that for us there. Okay, and then the third element here. All right, and they do have tissue around them. Oh, how pretty is this? We've got the birds on a branch here. Now I realize in the online store, because of the subtle colors of this kit, it just does not do it justice. It's really hard to see the intricacy here of those elements, even in the online store with their amazing photography. But I hope after showing you this today that you're gonna fall in love with this kit too. It's called Brighten Your Day, and the item number for this, let's find it here. All right, this is crazy. They don't have the item number on the kit packaging. All right, well, I have it posted in my video details, so we will find that for you. Okay, so what we're going to do, in this kit, you also get some vanilla twine. Hi, Karen. Hello, hello. Oh, yes, you should have gotten this kit. You'll have to add it to your next order, Karen, because it really is pretty. We've got the little glue dots and some dimensionals here. Okay, and like I said, we've got our sentiments. Just a little note, hoping this brightens your day, which Brighten Your Day is the name of the kit. Okay. All right, of course, like I said, you can always stamp your own sentiments. So it's really beautiful to just course, make these as designed. All right, in which case you take your little glue dots. I highly recommend having your take your pick tool handy for this, especially when it comes to the placement of all of these little glue dots. All right, I also find it helpful sometimes to kind of peel the backing back so that you can place these, especially if you've got short nails like I do here at the moment. Sometimes they're a little bit hard to grab these off. I know people either love or hate these little dots. All right, but we are just going to place them randomly here around our laser cut image. All right, just kind of put a bunch around. All right, that should do it. And then of course, once you've got them on there, then you have to take the backing off, which can be a process in itself. I'd say this is the disadvantage of these, is that you have to use those little glue dots, okay? Because of course, if you're die cutting something intricate yourself, you could use the adhesive sheets in order to not have to do the whole little sticky dot thing. Okay, so we got some glue dots on here. You place this on the front of your card. All right, it's large, it's designed perfectly for the card front. I mean, look how pretty that is, just like that, okay? And then you get your sentiment piece. Now this is not in the instruction, but I like to put a little bit of adhesive on the back of my die cut or my label here to help hold the twine. Okay, so if you're using the twine that comes here in the kit, all right, so place some so that you've got little loops here. All right, and it just kind of loops around however big you'd like your loops. All right, get your loops in order there. But having a little sticky, helps to keep them in place so that then you can come in with those dimensionals and then place this on your card front. Let's get that loop over here. There we go. Okay, so these go together fairly simple like that. Then place this here. I hate to cover it up because it's so pretty, but you place it right here. And then there you have it. That's really all there is to it. But let me show you how I plan to step this up a little bit, because I think these are just too pretty for just a one and done here. So what I was thinking, all right, we'll grab our card here. I was thinking it would be neat to check this out. And so I plan to use the sponge daubers. All right, so where did I place those? All right, I got my sponge dauber baggie. If you're doing sponge daubers, I believe you get five of them in a little package. All right, and then similar to your blending brushes, if you like, you can have one for every color. Or what I generally do is I use one for pinks, one for blues, one for greens, one for yellows, etc. And that way you can just kind of mix and match, just brush or daub off the colors before you move to the next one, okay? So what I thought it would be neat to do, you bring this in. All right, not only could you flip it around, and that way you could do a second design, okay, and you can have your sentiment, and you could put it I think I would put it right up here so that it's not really covering any of those pretty flowers. So that's another alternate, okay? Is just to flip it over and place the sentiment in a different location. But I love this too, is that I was thinking it would look really neat if, all right, and I had, yes, I die cut some, I didn't die cut, I cut out some cardstock here so that I would have something to play with, okay? And I think I like this side, okay. So check this out, grab a dauber here, let's see. This, all right, again, it's good to, that one had some brown, red. All right, looks like I've got, oh, that was some blue. That is the only thing. I should keep these a little bit better organized. Okay, I had some pinks on that one. So I think what I'm gonna do is come in with my Highland Heather. Okay, and with this, I'm gonna daub to soak up some ink here. And I wanted to use this as a stencil. So again, you do have to be very gentle around all of these little detailed pieces here, okay, because you don't want them to move on you. All right, so I thought we could create a little bit of a shadow on here and see how that, again, we're just kind of playing around here to start with, but I think this is a great kind of a technique kit. And then at the same time, we're also adding color to our die cut. Of course, if purple is not your thing, the paper has two sides. So we're gonna see how this works to create our little background on here. So you can see, oops, I just shifted it. So technically, actually, this would be really good to use in like the Stamparatus, where you could clip it on with some magnets and help out that way. Okay, so let's just see what this looks like once I remove this. All right, isn't that kind of cool? So that makes a really neat kind of background, almost like a little stippled background. I think I'm gonna just fill in the rest of this. And then you've got a really neat background there too. Isn't that kind of cool? Okay, so I was thinking you could do something like that and then mount it on some cardstock. So say we did that, and then let's cut a piece. All right, so I think I would trim this down just a little bit. All right, isn't that kind of cool? So let's trim it down just a little bit. So, okay, so I've got to trim my white piece here to 3 3/4 by 5. That way my Highland Heather is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I can mount this on some fresh Freesia. All right. So I do think that that's kind of neat in and of itself. Even just with this side. Okay. And then, oops, where did I have that? Yeah, then you can even do a little die cut. And if you do not speak that language, let's see what else we've got here. I have Unbounded Love. I've got, how about Wonderful Thoughts? We'll go with that. We'll go with Wonderful Thoughts. And I'll just do a thinking of you here. Oops, sorry about that. And I'm gonna stamp that in my Highland Heather here. Okay. And you could add your twine to the back. I kind of like the purple, so let's dot the edges a little bit here. Now notice I did use the daubers for this and not my blending brushes, because I really wanted to just press down. I didn't want to risk the stencil moving on me any more than it did. And when you use the blending brushes, of course, you use a circular motion, so you have more likelihood of that moving. So that's why I went with the daubers here. Okay. Oh, I sponged the wrong side. All right. Still have enough residual ink here on my dauber, so just brush a little bit of this on there. I kind of need a new dauber. This one's getting a little chewed up. I guess I use my purples a little bit more than some of my other colors there. Okay, so again, just kind of do a little figure 8 here with your twine. Okay, and then add some dimensionals. All right, so we've got that. And let's put it up just a little bit higher. Oops, that dimensional didn't want to move with me. Okay, put this, oops, my loop got caught. There we go. Put this up here. That way it's even. Okay, so a little bit of loop there, and then I do feel like we need a little bling. There is no bling with this. It's very simple. So you could use your, I've got some of these iridescent faceted gems. These are on last chance clearance. We also have some iridescent pearls, some of the different opal rounds. Any of these little gems would work quite nicely. Okay, and then just add a little bit of bling over here. All right, just a little bit. So that's a little bit different. Okay, I feel like this one definitely needs a little something on it. And there we go. Let's stick it up there on a petal. All right, and a little bling makes it better. Okay, so we've got that, but then we've got this piece that we used as our stencil. So like I said, you can finish coloring this, or let's check out some extra color here, because like I said, we've got our blends and they are white, but the designs on these are just so pretty. So I did bring in some additional colors here. All right, I think I'm gonna do a little bit of fresh Freesia here along with my Highland Heather. So since I've got some Highland Heather already cooped up, let's do our flower centers here and our Highland Heather. And then, yeah, I think that'll be good. Okay, so like I said, just daub it off on some scrap, okay, until the color is lighter. Okay, if you're mixing colors like this. So then I'm gonna come in with my fresh Freesia. It's a little bit lighter and brighter here. And I am gonna kind of blend this out. Okay, so with this, I am using my daubers. Yes, you could use your Stampin' Blends markers, not your blending brushes, but you could use your markers if you definitely wanted more concentrated, focused color here. All right, but don't be afraid to take these kits. Some people say, oh, kits, they're so simple. Well, that's the beauty of it, is you can use them in their simplicity, or if you're an avid crafter, step it up. There's lots of opportunity here to make it what you want. Oh, thank you so much for liking and sharing, Karen. You have a great week too. Hi, Linda. Good to see you on here. How are you doing? Hi, Wendy. Hello, hello. Yes, so these are the laser cut elements here from the brand new Brighten Your Day kit. And of course we made one as is. Then I used it as a stencil, and now we're gonna step up that laser cut, add some extra fun color here. All right, let's go with some Old Olive for our leaves. I am definitely gonna use a different dauber for this. Okay, oh yes, this one's got some green. All right, so let's add. All right, so again, you do need to kind of just press down, be careful so that you're not lifting any of those elements. All right, we got a little mix of flowers and leaves in here. All right, this is kind of fun. It should be fun, right? Crafting is fun. Yeah, I love this. Okay, so let's keep going here. We've got a little mix of stems and leaves in there. Okay, and we can always go back over with our purple dauber around the edges for some of these. And you can even do two-tone. You can make some lighter than others. I just went with Old Olive here. I wanted it nice and bright. Okay. All right, let's come back in here because I don't want to have too much of that green. Okay. All right, you could always, like I said, use your blends a little bit to touch it up. And then let's see, we've got some fun little sprigs. Let's do some Lost Lagoon on there, a little bit of aqua color. And I think I've got a blend perfect for this one. Okay. Oh yeah, that touch of aqua in there is, ooh, I like that. Okay. Oh, so pretty. All right. I like it. So now that we've got that, okay. So again, the back side is just that plain, well, this is what we had used as our stencil here. Okay. And then we added lots of nice bright color here. Let's use dots and add these to it. Whoops. Sometimes the dots stick to me better than they do. Okay. All right, place those all around. Okay, I think we're good. Like I said, use that take your pick tool. Pry the backings off of those. And you could mix and match even. You don't have to do all the flower ones on the purple base cards. You could mix and match them. So I think I might do that. Let's see here. And then I got the backings off. With the I like that little touch of the aqua there. So I think I'm gonna pull in the other card base here. All right, and you can decide which one you like better. Let's see, let's go with this side. Okay. Got my flowers on here. All right, and those were kind of overlapping a little bit. All right, and then I think, so this is the other option. Use the foreign language ones to stamp your own sentiments. Choose your own adventure here. All right, let's use that and some, oh, here it is, some Lost Lagoon here. Actually, you know what? I kind of like that. I do that little note would be really cute with it just like that. So maybe I'll choose a sentiment that goes this way. How about, oh, I can just do it just for you. That works, right? Or, hi friend. Or, you know what, love, how about that? I can do love on here. That would be pretty. Oh, come on. There we go. Yeah, I like that. All right, and again, if you want, use your dauber here. Ink the edges, all right, especially if with these sentiment labels being a specific shape, we don't always have a die that exact shape to do some layering, but just using a little dauber helps it stand out a little bit. Okay, I think I like that. Or, ooh, oh, you know what else I had brought out? So I brought out my new Encircled with Love stamp set with the 1 7/8 circle punch. All right, was that the right size? That's the new one, right? Yeah, I think it is. And with this little with love might be just the ticket. So let's ink this up too. So I've got that as an option. Let me ink this one up. Grab some basic white. Okay, here's a piece and that Lost Lagoon. Oh, yes, I do love Lost Lagoon. Yep, but it's kind of a subtle color. Yeah, but I love it when you pair it with like Pretty Peacock. It's nice to have the light and dark tones of different colors. All right, yeah, I actually think that's really cute. So let's just add a couple. When I do circles, I always do a trio of embellishments. And if you want to layer something, then the 1 7/8, that's the new one. Yeah, I think that's it. I could have cut it out a little bit closer with the 1 3/4 and then layered with the 1 7/8, but I think this will work. And let's do that. Let's put this right. I don't want to hide the hummingbird, but I think that'll be cute. I'll stick it right there, and then add a little embellishment that'll kind of help hold it in place just a touch. And let's do a third. Yeah, isn't that cute? Ooh, I like that. All right, so we did add the bling to the original. We used our stencil here, and then we colored our die cut element. What do you guys think? All right, let's check out some of the others here. All right, let's go with the basic beige. This one has the fern die cut. And again, it's meant to just go right along the edge, top and bottom, and essentially go together just like this one. I think I definitely want to step this one up a bit. It definitely is calling for some color here. So I'm a little torn. So should I go with I kind of like that side even. Let's do that. Let's go with this side first. Okay. So we'll use the reverse side of its original. Okay, so there's really no right or wrong here, just wherever you can find a spot, go ahead and place some of these little glue dots. Oops. Okay, I think I got the dot. Oops, it's stuck to my spatula there. All right, I'm gonna try to peel these off as I go, because otherwise I'm gonna forget where I put them. They kind of blend right in. Oops, I keep doing that. Peeling off the sticky. There we go. This does take a little bit of concentration. All right, somehow I've got one stuck to my thumb. All right, have your vacuum handy when you do this so that you can suck up all these little backings from your glue dots. I picked up, I think it was at like Dollar Tree. They have those, you can get a little desktop vacuum. They're kind of handy. They're just a little battery operated, but it does work good for things like this. Or if you spill your glitter or your embossing powder. Good to not have to sweep it, but it's better to just suck it right up so it doesn't spread everywhere. All right, let's do one more right up here. There we go. And again, it goes right along the edge, right up to the top, and just tack it into place. Okay, and then we've got our sentiment label. Again, use a little adhesive to help hold that twine in place. Okay, so we'll do our little, you don't need a huge loop here. All right, come on. Add our loops. Okay, and trim that off. Add your dimensionals. Okay. Alrighty, so I've got this. Right down in here, this one's a little long. Let's trim that off a little bit. There we go. All right, so very pretty. Again, I do think it needs a little something. So let's, again, we'll add just a little bit of bling here with it. All right, I do feel like that helps to draw the eye in just a little bit, okay? But then they're so pretty. I love ferns. My grandmother always had these large fern plants. They were really gorgeous. Although I loved walking through the woods. We always have beautiful ferns growing in the woods, so. Okay. So let's do this one. And you can use either side. Let's bring in, again, it's always good. This is just chipboard. Each of the kits comes with, including this kit, comes with a little piece of chipboard backing, which is great. So we used the old olive before. I think I'm gonna continue with that. Actually, while I'm doing this, let's grab another piece of white. Actually, I need to trim this down just a little bit because if I mount it, then this one needs to be 3 3¾ by 5. All right, so it's gonna be my stencil here, my fern. It's gonna be just a little bit bigger. So let's go like this. Okay, and then here's my dauber. All right, so just hold it into place and work a section at a time. Yes, careful. All right, I'm holding it in place. You could use a little bit of masking, you know, like, I don't know, because this is, the laser cut here is so delicate. I don't know that I'd want to even use any tape for fear it might tear some of these little laser cut pieces. So I think it's actually easiest just to go work section by section here with your daubers. And because it takes up almost the whole card front here, it's not that much extra to add little stippling. Okay. Okay, so we've got just this little bit of section down here at the bottom left. I think this is gonna look really cool. All right, woohoo, check out the reveal. Oh, how neat is that? Voila. That's really cool. I'm gonna add just a little bit of extra ink on here. I want this nice and dark on this one. Love these. All right, so this was Old Olive. You could go in with some Mossy Meadow or something too, but I think this is good. So now we've got these two pieces. Okay, so what I should have done, I did not cut a piece of Mossy Meadow to layer that with. I do have the basic beige card base. I need to cut a layer for that, a contrasting layer, because I don't think I cut my Old Olive either. All right, well, you get the idea. This one needs to have a layer behind it. I need to cut that. And then we'll take our card base back here. Yeah, let's go with this one. All right, and again, add those glue dots, or you know, if you've got a liquid glue that you like, a little precision glue, that would work really well for this too. Okay, we do have our fine tip glue pen. I should dig that out. I don't know that I would recommend Tombow for this because unless you have a precision glue tip dispenser, because you really don't want to have any of this like squirting out the edges. It's so detailed. All right, so kind of do one. I'm trying to strategically make sure I get the top and bottom as well as some in the middle and then some, oops, some on the sides. Okay, oops, go down here. Come on. All right, got little dots everywhere. Here we go. Okay, are we good? I think we might be good. All right, gently make, okay, so let's make sure our card opens in the right direction. Okay. And then come on here and just gently press this on. Ooh, oh, I love that. Okay, so then let's use another one of these. And this time I'm gonna stamp my sentiment with some Old Olive. Actually, what else do I have? I had, oh, this one might work, right? The thank you. Let's try that. I think that will work. Let's do that. So I'm gonna grab the other side of my block here and, oops, had some remaining basic white. Again, this is the Encircled with Love stamp set. And it coordinates perfectly with the 1 7/8 circle punch. So you can bundle that 1 7/8 circle punch with the Silly Safari, the little animal stamp set, or you can do it a la carte. So I got the 1 7/8 and then the Encircled with Love. But it's nice to know that there are two stamp sets that coordinate with this, and of course it makes a really nice size to layer with the 1 3/4 punch too. Okay. All right, I think that works. That works nicely. Trio of dimensionals for my circle here. And place this right up. Well, that looks kind of cool too. What do you guys think? Should I go top left or bottom right with my words? Hi, Luann. Oh yes, so I'll go back through that Luann too with the flowers. I'm kind of doing the same step with each card here. So we did our original, but added some bling, and then we used the stencil or the die cut as a stencil, and then we used that stencil then on, we super colored it. All right. Okay, so then we're doing the same thing. We got the fern here. We did our original, added some bling. Then we used it as the stencil, which I need a layer of mossy meadow. All right, so we've got some options here. Luann's saying top left, Jackie's saying bottom, Linda's saying top. Okay, so we got 2 votes for top left. Anybody else want to chime in? I'll give it a moment here. But it really does. It looks kind of neat down here too. You could, ooh, oh, what about this? Oh, I kind of like that even. That's kind of fun. All right, we got, actually that I might do something like this. Ooh, all right, we've got some options. All right, I think I'm gonna go right there and then add, again, these are kind of nice, iridescent faceted gems. They're on the clearance right now. Let's just add a couple of those. All right, super classy. And yeah, I think, all right, I don't have a piece of the mossy meadow handy, I don't think. It's in my craft room. All right, so I might have to put a hold on finishing that, but I'll have to finish and post a finished picture. But let me show you. All right, the third design, we have the little birds. Okay, and for that, we've got the bluish, the Lost Lagoon Balmy blue background here. Okay, so this is designed to go on just, the design itself is super simple. You just put the little glue dots on the laser cut element and then adhere it to the card base. But it is so pretty that it is nice to add some extra color to it. Okay, so peel the backing off of these. All right, grab that, place this on here. So pretty. All right, so the branch is extending out. Gorgeous. Oh, here it is. The little, just a little note. Okay, add our twine. Let's see here. Do a little loop-de-loop. Oops, come on. Oh, add our dimensionals. Okay, so you could make these quick. Obviously, this is not a quick video today because we're doing all of these fun techniques, but that's what makes it fun, right? All right, so then we've got our just a little note down in here. There we go. As designed. Add a little bling. Let's see. I need to get some more of these. All right. I think a little bling makes it better. Okay, then let's follow suit here where we're going to use this as a stencil. All right, so I'm going to trim my white down again to 3 3/4 by 5. Okay, I need to pop another one of these out. And again, I love that because they're white on both sides, you can have them going from either direction. Okay, so these are coming kind of left towards, or right to left, but you could flip it around. Okay, come on, there we go. Actually, this would be really cute too. You could do, ooh, let's do something like this. Can I get it to whole thing to fit? I think I can. Oops, let me get my, let's get our chipboard under there. So don't forget, you could also use these elements. I kind of like that, in which case you could do, let's go with a little balmy blue. All right, and because this is the lighter color and I'm doing just the larger stencil, I am gonna come in here and do this. Oops. Which I do think that looks kind of neat. All right, you can do it as light or as dark. As you like. Oh, doesn't that looks kind of neat too. I like that. All right, so that's kind of fun. And then, ooh, I like that. What do you guys think? That's kind of cool. Ooh, you know what would be really neat is, oh, I just had another idea. Okay, so hold that thought, bring this back. I think we can line this back up. Okay, so I'm going to come in here with my darker, with the Lost Lagoon. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do with the Lost Lagoon. And I had used this one, I believe. Yes. Okay. All right, let's see here. All right. I think I know what I'm doing here. You guys always get to see my videos are always unedited. You get to see the whole process. Okay. Okay, so it went darker that time, but then we're gonna bring in the stencil, place this over top. Okay. Then I'm gonna come in with the lighter color, all right, with the balmy blue. So carefully line this up. All right, I need another dauber because I got different shades going on. And yes, I think I have one with, oh, that was more green. I thought I had one that had blue. Yes, this one's got some blue. Okay. I should label these. That would be easy enough to do. All right, so. So what I want to do blue. I want to do blue. Okay, so it's not, it's sort of I think it looks cool like that with the design. I should not have done the interior quite like that. So let's take a pretty peacock instead. Do I want to do that and do some of these elements right over the bird? Will they show up? All right, so this might take a little bit of playing here, but it's coming out with slightly different colors than I had anticipated. I should have, although I do love pretty peacock. All right, and carefully place this back over. So I was kind of thinking of like building the color here on these birds, having it show through. But I think I should have used green, my old olive on the leaves, because I did get some of that out, and then I could have had my leaves and my branches different colors. So that is kind of neat. You do get a little bit of the two-tone, which is kind of cool. Not totally what I had in mind. All right, so kind of like it, kind of not quite sure. And I've got this much going on, so I think I should finish this piece. We're just gonna go with it here with our shades of pretty peacock. And let's add a little bit of brown for the, so I do have some pecan pie. Let's do a little brown for the branch so we have a little bit of distinction between those. All right, let's see. I need a brown. Yes. Okay. Oops, stuck my finger in it. Okay. Well, this is a pretty color combination. It reminds me of those nice regal colors in our Floral Charm Sweet collection. Love the gem tones here. Maybe a little brown up on the beak. All right, so I mean, that is kind of a neat combo. And that does stand out nicely, whether you're using the blue background. Ooh, yeah, it does. It does really make it pop. Yeah, I do kind of like that. That is quite pretty. This didn't come out quite how I anticipated, but again, you get the process, so we'll play around with that a little bit more. And if you're not totally into that, you do also have the back side. You know, maybe, you know, we're gonna color both sides, and then you guys, because I wanna show you how you can make it come from the other direction. Oh, thank you guys. All right, so let's see. I still like the pecan for my branches and the feet. All right, we're just gonna play around a little bit here. That's the thing, paper has two sides, right? So, okay. So we've got the pecan. Then I wanted to do the old olive All right, traditional green for the leaves. Although, I mean, the jewel tones of the pretty peacock was really pretty. I guess you'll have to let me know which side you like best. Did you like the pretty peacock side or this more traditional side? Okay, got the greens. And then, okay, we'll come in. I mean, the pretty peacock was really pretty on the birds. So I think maybe I'll do that. I'm gonna come back in with the pretty peacock for the birds themselves. Okay. All right, so I definitely got a bit artsy with this kit here today, but like I said, you take a simple kit and just by adding some fun ink techniques to it. So we've been using our sponge daubers, and these come in a set, I believe it's a set of 5, and they're pretty, they're pristine looking when you get them. And then use them for the various colors. Okay, oh yeah. Oops. I like that. Smooth this color out. There we go. Yeah, I think that's really pretty here. So I've used a total of 5 daubers between the cards here with the various colors that we've had going. And then I think that will pop really nicely here against our card base. Oh yeah, look at that. That's really pretty. Okay, so this side was nice, but the other side is prettier. Find our glue dots here. Okay. Now let's, actually with the color on it, it makes it easier to see where you've placed your glue dots. So that's a plus. Let's see. Okay. All right. I think we've added enough here. Gently take the backings off, just the backing, not the whole glue dot. Okay. My paper is quite saturated with ink, so you may want to let it dry just a little bit because the glue dots aren't sticking quite as well because they're so wet. Okay. Now we'll take this and place this on our card. Again, coming in from left to right this time, so slightly different angle here, but I like that. Okay, and then let's see here. Yeah, maybe we'll just do the little one here, and we'll do our words in pretty peacock. And let's see here. I think I'm gonna go one horizontally with that. And You know what? I've got that thinking of you still here, so let's go ahead. Let's just do that. Okay, very nice. Again, if you like, you can add a little ink to the edges. This is also a good technique if you've got ink on your fingers and you accidentally smudge ink on your project, then use a dauber and just add a little more and then just say it was intentional. All right, and I think I'm gonna leave off the twine on this one. Okay. And then I can wedge this right here under the leaf. Okay. And I had a few jewels left. Here we go. Oops. Come on. Let's do that. We'll do 1, 2, and 3. And voila. What do you guys think? So this was the Brighten Your Day kit, brand new, $17. All right, it is a so it does not come with a stamp set, although I am recommending some sentiments, and even the encircled would love that stamp set and punch to go with it. Okay, but all of these laser cut elements, including 9 cards and 9 envelopes, are included, the twine and the adhesive. And so we took each one, we made each of the cards as designed. Okay, so these are there's a flower, the fern, and the birds. So each one as designed. And then we also use each one as a stencil. Okay, so we did a flower stencil. We did not completely finish the fern stencil. I need to mount that on some Mossy Meadow cardstock and give it a sentiment. And the bird stencil, decided that one didn't quite work as well as I liked, so maybe nix that one. All right, so stencil was I do like the way this one came out. And then we colored each of the laser cut elements, added some color to it. These are my favorite. All right, so we added, for each of these, we used Old Olive Pecan Pie. We did some Lost Lagoon and Pretty Peacock. And then I used Fresh Freesia for the pink on the flowers there. Okay, so adding a little bit of color here. We used sponge daubers for all of these and the iridescent faceted dots, which are on Last Chance clearance as embellishments for all of the projects. So I hope you love these. I hope you had fun. Definitely check out the Brighten Your Day kit. You can make it quick and simple as designed. Really elegant and beautiful with these laser cut elements. But also look at it as a fun technique kit that you can definitely step up if you're feeling artsy and give it a try. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you have some fun. Have a great summer afternoon or evening, wherever you are. And thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this, make sure we give me that thumbs up, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Please share with your friends. And again, the kit description and link to my online store are in the video description. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.